It started with a single photograph, a family portrait taken on a sunny Sunday afternoon. Everyone in the picture was smiling. Everyone except the man standing at the far left. His face was turned slightly away, as if he was watching something behind the camera. 48 hours later, the entire Madison family vanished without a sound, and the man from the photo was never identified. Detective Emma Holden arrived at 14 Lakeview Drive on a cold October morning, the kind of morning where the air feels too sharp, too awake, as if the world itself is holding its breath. The call came in at 7:42 a.m. Welfare check. No response from occupants. Possible disturbance last night. Lakeview Drive was a quiet, orderly street. Trimmed lawns, fall decorations, friendly neighbors. The kind of place where nothing truly bad was ever supposed to happen. But the moment Emma stepped out of her car, she felt it. The slight electric tension that lingers in the air when a home has witnessed something terrible. The Madison house was pristine. Too pristine. Curtains perfectly drawn, porch swept clean. Both cars parked neatly in the driveway. The front door was locked, and when officers forced entry, the inside looked like a staged photograph. Dishes washed and drying, breakfast table set for 3, a pot of coffee half full but cold. No signs of struggle, no broken items, no blood. It was as if the family had stood up from breakfast and dissolved into thin air. Emma stepped into the living room, her boots making soft echoes on the hardwood floor. Framed pictures lined the walls. Family trips, birthdays, a beach vacation, a Christmas morning. Smiling faces. Except for one photo on the mantel. A Polaroid of the family standing outside a theme park. George Madison, tall and tense-looking. His wife, Claire, with a tired but warm smile. Their daughter Rachel clutching a stuffed penguin. And on the far left, a figure Emma didn't recognize. A man in a gray jacket, his face slightly blurred, turned halfway from the camera. "Who the hell is that?" Officer Martinez asked behind her. "That," Emma said, "is our first question." Upstairs, Rachel's room looked untouched. Pink walls, fairy lights, stuffed animals arranged neatly on her bed. But Emma noticed something wrong. Small dents on the inside of the drywall. Not random dents, but repeated impacts, clustered low near the floor. As if someone had been pounding frantically from the inside of the wall. She crouched, running her fingers along the dents. The paint was slightly chipped. Fresh. "Martinez," she said quietly, "get me a thermal camera." When he returned with the small handheld device, Emma pressed it to the wall. The screen flickered, then showed something that made her blood run cold. Faint residual heat, not from pipes, not from wiring, but from something shaped vaguely like a hand, as if someone had pressed their palm against the inside of the wall not long ago. They ripped open the panel. Empty. But the insulation looked disturbed, pulled away in clumps, as if someone had been crawling inside the wall cavity. Back downstairs, Emma entered the kitchen. That was when she saw it. A small yellow sticky note stuck to the refrigerator, written in a shaky, childish handwriting. "He said the walls can hear us. Now he is in the walls." Her heart thudded. Something was wrong here, wrong on a level that went beyond the usual horrors of missing person cases. The basement door was partially hidden behind a hanging coat. The knob was cold to the touch. Emma turned on her flashlight and walked down the creaking stairs. The basement was cluttered. Boxes, old tools, Christmas decorations. But on the far wall, something caught her eye. A rectangular patch of carpet that didn't match the rest. She pulled it aside. A metal door was hidden underneath, flush with the concrete floor. "Martinez," she whispered, "get over here." They pried it open, revealing a narrow staircase descending into a cramped room where the ceiling hung low and the air smelled of dust and metal. In the center stood a small desk with a monitor array. Multiple screens showed every room of the house, the bedrooms, the hallway, the kitchen, the backyard. Someone had installed hidden cameras long before the family disappeared. Emma leaned in, studying the screens. The feeds were static, except one. The living room camera flickered. And then a faint shadow moved across the floor. "Is anyone upstairs?" she asked sharply. "No," Martinez replied. "Everyone's with me." For a moment, the shadow lingered in the frame, a tall silhouette near the staircase. Then it vanished. Emma swallowed hard. Someone else is in the house. They sprinted back upstairs, guns drawn, sweeping every room. But the house was empty, silent, still. Except for one new sound, a faint scratching from inside the walls. Emma pressed her ear against the drywall. The scratching stopped. Then came a soft, deliberate tapping, like someone trying to communicate. She backed away slowly. "We need to get out now." The investigation exploded. The FBI joined. Cadaver dogs searched the house. Thermal scans, ground-penetrating radar, everything. But the walls were empty, the crawl space empty, the attic empty. The Madison family, gone. 3 days later, a neighbor came forward. She remembered hearing something the night before the disappearance. Sounds like muffled cries, a man's low voice, and then a thud, heavy enough to shake her picture frames. The timeline began to form. George Madison, the father, worked for a defense contractor. Classified projects, security clearances, psychological evaluations. A month before the disappearance, he reported hearing voices in the walls to a coworker, but no one followed up. The therapist he saw twice claimed George feared someone was watching the family. But the most disturbing evidence came from Rachel's elementary school. Her teacher reported that over the past weeks, Rachel kept drawing the same figure in her notebooks, a tall man in gray, standing in the corner of her room, watching. Every drawing had the same label beneath it: the listener. Emma's investigation took a darker turn when she traced the house's previous owner, a man named Leonard Drake. He bought the house in 2001 and lived there for less than a year before disappearing. His case was never solved. But in the storage unit he left behind, police found journals, hundreds of pages describing the same thing George complained about. The walls listening. Something moving behind them at night. A tall man who knew every secret whispered in the house. Emma returned to the Madison home one last time, determined to find something everyone else had missed. As she walked inside, the air felt heavier, as if thick with something unspoken. She moved room to room until she reached the basement again. The air was colder. She lifted the carpet and opened the metal door. The monitor room was dark, but when she powered the screens back on, the cameras flickered back to life. Every room was empty, except the living room. This time, the silhouette was not standing in the corner. It was standing directly in front of the camera, tall, still, facing her. Emma froze. The figure slowly tilted its head as if recognizing her. And then the speakers crackled to life. A child's voice whispered, "He found us." The screen went black. The case of the Madison family remains open. No bodies were ever found, no intruder identified, no footprints, no fingerprints, no forced entry. But every officer who enters the house reports the same thing: the sense that someone is standing behind the walls, listening, waiting. And sometimes, when the house is quietest, the faint sound of tapping echoes through the rooms, like a message spelled out in code. No one stays inside after dark. No one lives there now. But the cameras? The cameras are still recording. And last week, one of the motion sensors triggered for the first time in months. When investigators checked the footage, they saw a little girl walking across the hallway, barefoot, holding a stuffed penguin. And behind her, a tall man in gray, watching.